I'm Brian Scrivener, Director of University of Calgary Press. Scholarly publishing process in Canada is pretty much the same as for other forms of publishing. Just add some years and a few more bureaucratic hurdles. With rare exception, Canadian university presses are departments within their host universities, so they must make their publishing decisions within the context of the mandate they're given by their university. This might include a requirement to include publications focused on regional history or literature, or publications stemming from research centers on campus. But for the most part, Canadian universities take a reasonably hands-off attitude toward their presses, extending them the same academic freedom that they do their faculty, provided that the academic quality of their publications is sound. Individual presses choose to focus on particular subject areas in order to establish a distinct identity within the scholarly publishing environment. So where do books come from? Some just show up in the inbox proposed by scholars who've been impressed by books which that press has previously published in their field. Others may be sought out by scholars who lead subject area series for the press. Many presses have dedicated acquisitions editors whose responsibility is to stay current with trends within certain academic fields and proactively approach potential authors. Sometimes the proposed books arrive as a complete manuscript. Other times, presses intercede early in the writing process, helping to develop that manuscript as it takes shape. Once a press has agreed to consider a manuscript for publication, standard university press practice calls for the press to obtain anonymous to the author editor peer reviews of the manuscript by subject experts. This can be hard to manage for several reasons. It can be difficult to find peer reviewers who have the time, capacity, and expertise to devote to reviewing a manuscript, and university presses can only offer a small stipend for this work. Generally, the peer reviewers will state their opinion on whether the manuscript warrants publication or could be published if revised, and whether it would make a significant contribution to its field. They are encouraged to share any suggestions and recommendations for revision. University press staff are not just traffic wardens or gatekeepers, as we're sometimes called. We apply our expertise to make a book the best it can be. One time, we advised an author of a book who had received which had received mixed peer reviews to cut 2/3 out of the manuscript and amplify the remainder. The author did so, and that book went on to win a National Scholarly Award. Once the reviews have been received and the authors have been given a chance to respond in writing to any criticism or suggestions for revision which the reviewers have made, standard practice is for the manuscript and the reviews to be put before the press's editorial board. This board consists of faculty, often but not necessarily from the press's host institution, who assess the peer reviews and then vote whether or not to approve the book for publication. There are three possible outcomes from the board's determination. Yes, maybe. The yes and no should be obvious. The maybe can result if, based upon the reviewer's comments and the author's response, the board feels the author should be given the chance to revise the manuscript and resubmit it. If the author chooses to take this path, a full or partial peer review process is applied to the revised manuscript. You can begin to see where those extra years of development, typical for a university press book, come from. A reasonable person would think that, by this point, with these bureaucratic hurdles behind it, publication of the book ought to be a certainty. But publishing costs money, which is something of which university presses are chronically short. Potential sales income from most scholarly presses books is vanishingly small. Though these books may make a significant advancement in knowledge, they are unlikely to be read by many people. They are instead stepping stones which specialists and students in the field incorporate into their broader understanding of a subject. There are government programs which provide financial support, but these are very competitive and very underfunded. So university presses, in common with most Canadian-owned publishers, are left to scrabble together some seed money, then take a leap of faith that somehow publication becomes viable. Once this leap has been taken, a press then enlists a copy editor, either staff or freelance, with expertise in the subject area, who works with the author to identify areas of the work that require clarification, maybe expansion or reduction, fact-checking, and that obsession of academic literature, proper citation of sources. Then the book goes through book industry standard proofing and printing processes. Print runs are usually negligible, Some books appear first or only in digital format or only printed on demand. The impact a book makes can be greatly diminished if some readers cannot read it or cannot afford to read it. Our press, along with most university presses in Canada, creates our ebooks to the highest international accessibility standards, meaning that people with reading difficulties can enjoy our books more easily. Hefty academic books with a small market require a hefty selling price to recover at least some of the costs of creating them. Our press, along with others such as Athabasca University Press, prioritize open access publication, which allows any reader throughout the world to access these books online free of charge. Once published, the books are sent off into the world. Review copies are sent to academic journals. Books are promoted at scholarly conferences. Some books do receive reviews, though it often can take 2 to 3 years for a review to come out. Just when you think a book has sunk without trace, a 5-star review pops up, confirming your decision to publish a book which you believe can change the world, or at least in its own modest way, contribute to that effort. Thanks.